Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Truth Podcast. My guest this week is Marianne Daugherty. Marianne's a licensed clinical social worker in the state of Pennsylvania. She's been a social worker for 30 years and has served in both nonprofit and for-profit agencies. She has owned her own private practice for 11 years. She helps adult women and is an EMDR certified therapist, specializing in helping women heal from developmental trauma, which is very important. Marianne is also an online coach for successful female entrepreneurs who seem to have it all but are secretly struggling. She uses a group coaching mentality, in-person retreats, and masterminds. She is a multi-author book coming out on January 20th, 2020 called Leaders, Women Who Change the World Through Their Business. Welcome to the show, Marianne.
Thank you, Jim.
I got through it.
Great to be here. You did it.
I did it. Okay, so my first question usually is, what made you want to become an entrepreneur? And I have to move this because I don't want my closet there because the closet is terrible. So I moved it. There we go.
So really, it was out of necessity for me. I was working as a therapist in a group practice, and not making very much money, working a lot. The job is obviously pretty stressful and taxing.
Yeah,
and I was very unhappy in my marriage. And my former husband made, as often happens with women, my husband made a lot more money than I did.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was going to move forward with a separation, I really was going to have to figure out a way to make more money to support myself. And I have 2 kids. I mean, he supports them too and still does, but I would be out on my own really. And so I decided to start my own practice. And didn't really, to be honest with you, I never really thought of myself as an entrepreneur. I see in the space a lot of kind of arguing about what that word even means.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But it really wasn't until with therapy, a lot of therapists take insurance, and really when you do that, which is great, I don't have anything bad to say about that other than that they're impossible to work with. That really you work for the insurance companies.
Right.
So it wasn't until I decided to unpanel myself from the insurances that I really started feeling like an entrepreneur, because I had to start doing really what were sales calls with potential clients. When I took insurance, it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, we're an insurance match. I can help you. And I could. So it really wasn't until then that I started to think of myself in that way.
Okay, I understand that. Seems like this is a personal mission for you. It's just a feeling I'm getting through this so far, is that you have a personal mission to help other women that have gone through a lot of things and help them to get through some of the barriers that they go through in entrepreneurship because of things that have happened in the past. Is that kind of a correct statement?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can feel, I can see that. I see you have a big heart for people as well. And I love that about some of the people that I interview are just amazing people. And I think that I can kind of sense where people are at. So I think that's you as well. I'm going to go into a little bit of has there anything that kind of held you back or limited you, do you think, in your entrepreneurial journey, either external or internal?
Sure. Yeah. I really, we were talking before the show and what I have noticed on my own journey to building a self-pay practice and doing all those things, and then moving into a very different, actually, online coaching is very different than seeing people doing psychotherapy. A lot of old stuff has come up for me. Like, it's trauma. It's trauma stuff from my childhood, from the way I was treated in my family, from the behaviors and kinds of ways of thinking that were around me when I was a kid. Lots of sort of limited beliefs and mindset. My father is a minister, so I'm getting ready to do a lot of content about this online. Actually, I really grew up in a fishbowl,
Yeah.
and my dad was the minister of. I grew up in Cleveland, and then when I was 12, we moved to a smaller town, and he was the minister of the huge white church in the center of town. So appearances were everything, but the appearances were not actually what was going on really at home, which is often the case with people, unfortunately. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff that I'm also very much a perfectionist, and that has come up as I've moved forward in this entrepreneurial journey a lot. Actually, it's something I really work at, in dealing with and noticing. But I've really had to do a lot of my own work to get past, kind of like the scarcity mindset stuff. And even though I'm a therapist, it's a lot easier to talk about these things and to help other people. It's very different when you actually have to do your own work.
Yeah, it's often the case where you can help other people and see their problems really quickly, but your problems seem to be, that's different. You know what I mean? We can tell other people, here's what you have to do step by step. And then we try to do that for us. And it's like, but they don't understand because I have this, and this too,
Yeah, it's different. And I think that the other block really has been, or challenge has been, nobody in my family are entrepreneurs. So to leave a decent paying job that is, like the safety net, that nobody really understands why I decided to do that.
Right.
And my family really doesn't understand this online coaching thing. They're like, I don't even know what you're doing. Just, are you making any money at it?
It's very difficult because we're especially in the United States, we're really not a delayed gratification society. It's like, okay, I go in, I get money. That's how everything works. And people that have that mindset just don't understand delayed gratification, putting in all the work now so that you can have stuff later. They don't get it. They just don't understand. It's like, well, what are you doing with it? Are you making money? How much are you making? What are you doing? And it's like, they just don't get the fact that it's a slow build sometimes. And I think the rewards are better in the future, not right away. And I think that's where a lot of times it's very difficult to have people close to us that don't understand, that have a scarcity mindset, that have a fear of, they just want to protect you, but they have a fear almost over you that you're not going to succeed. And what do I do if they don't? I'm going to need to help them and all that type of thing. So I think you do have to struggle with that. I agree with that. Tell me a little bit more about your mission. What is your mission? What's in your heart about this?
To empower more women to do what they love to do what they feel passionate about, and to be financially independent.
Mm-hmm.
Do what they love, make money doing it. You know, women also, we can have a pretty weird mindset about money too.
Mm-hmm.
Like money's bad, money's the root of all evil, and women have a particularly interesting relationship with money. So I want to help women with their perfectionism and understand it, contextualize it in a different way so they can learn to recognize it, know what it is, and become friends with it. Because it's not about like beating it.
Right.
It's about understanding that it actually is trying to help us. And anxiety all the feelings are there for a reason. They're not trying to hurt us. But I do really want women sort of take everything I know as a therapist. And in my practice, I only work with women also. And help them create businesses, and not just businesses, but legacies. So, you know, they're just setting setting these amazing examples for their boys and their girls, that, you know, whatever you want, and this is an example for your boys too, whatever you want, you can do it. And I want to help them do that and sort of get over these, well, you know, learn how to manage these. I think I have a little bit of a different take on things, but I learn how to manage the roadblocks and deal with them in a different way. They don't really, some blocks and stuff don't ever really go away.
Just kind of navigating the minefield, sort of. You know, the thing that you said about money being the root of all evil, the actual quote is, the love of money is the root of all evil. So instead of money being the evil part, it's actually almost like a gun. It's a tool. You know what I mean? It can be used in the right way or the wrong way. And so when we understand that money is neither good or evil. And so that helps with that limiting belief. Also, I think that, like you said, that women have a different relationship with money. Can you kind of expand on that? Because I think that's interesting.
So I think that we have, as women, you know, really like my mom's generation, I'm 50, my mom's generation and my grandmother's generation, we were like secretaries, nurses, or teachers.
Oh, I see.
You know,
I get it now. Yeah.
And this doesn't come from a place of women are victims at all.
No.
But the fact is we do make less money than our male counterparts do.
That's true.
The glass ceiling actually does exist.
It does. I agree with that as well.
And we are treated differently in the workplace.
Yes, I agree with that too.
And so in order for us to, now it's not our fault, but it is our responsibility to ask for what we want. And that can include money. But I think, I hate to generalize, but there are a lot of books written on women and money mindset. There are a ton of coaches out there who work on money mindset. It's one of the things I talk about too. There's certain things that we're taught not to talk about, and one of them is money. It's okay, actually, for that. Men do not have that hang up.
No.
That is not, I mean, for to talk about money for men is like, it's money, you know, it's
for no big deal.
Yeah. We shouldn't, you know, it's one of those, like, you know, we don't talk about that or sex.
Yeah.
So how can we make it we're not talking about even, talking about it. So, that is part of the empowering, it's part of the empowerment of stepping into who we are and asking for what we want. And, a lot of us we worry about what other people think of us, and we're socialized to be accommodating.
And no, I
And
totally get that. I really do.
yeah. And it's so challenging, and there's so much fear for a lot of women to, including, I totally, and I'm pretty outspoken. I always have been. Girl, woman, people who know me will tell you, yeah, she has no problem speaking her mind. But I feel this too. Like, but that's not what I get back.
Really? You get the other side of it, like it's too much. Maybe it's overpowering to people. Or something.
Yeah. And yes.
But
absolutely.
I say we got to be ourselves, and yeah, we can try to be, we try to think of the other person too. So like when I talk, I try to think of the other person, keep the other person in mind as well. But there's a limit to that. There's a limit to when we're being told, who we can be. And I don't agree with that at all. I don't like that type of thing. I was going to say this too, when you're talking about women and being nurses and the things that women were pretty much pushed into, I think, because that's sexism. Yeah, that's what I totally believe. I think a lot of women, and I know a lot of powerful women in the entrepreneurial community right now that said, you know what, I'm just going to make it myself. I'm going to do something myself. And I don't have to make money in these particular fields. I can make money my own self as a coach, as a mentor, as a, one lady that teaches Tai Chi, and there's another lady that does funnels, and she's amazing. And I think that is more the trend now. Yeah. It's like, forget this stuff. We don't need to do that. Although it's needed. I'm not saying nurses aren't needed, but there can be male nurses now too.
Yeah, and so there are.
Not just a woman's thing anymore. I think the lines are being blurred, and I think that's a good thing. But I also think that there's still discrimination. I think that there's still a male dominance in the workplace, and I also think that the pay is not comparable to the work a lot of the times, for women.
No.
So do you think that's why? Because when I look at it, I see a ton of women entrepreneurs. I really do. And I think this is why, because it's like, hey, I want to break free from this stereotype and this thing that's been put on me. And I want to make my own way.
Absolutely.
I want to show everybody,
Yeah. Well, you see it a lot in like the younger generation, right? Like I was just at a mastermind event in October, and I shared an Uber with this just really awesome young woman, and we just started talking, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, I'm going here. And I said, what do you do? She's like, I live in Hawaii, and I'm a photographer, and I'm an online this, and she's like doing her thing. I said, that is so amazing. When I was your age, I'm that person now. When I was your age, but when I was her age,
I'm that person too now. I'm like, no.
That wasn't even on my radar.
Right.
But she was making great money. She was happy. She has freedom of time to, I think she was going to her friend's wedding to be the photographer for her friend's wedding. And it was amazing. Yeah. That times they really are changing, and it's fantastic.
It is. It is.
Yeah, and the whole coaching world is really kind of the wild west right now. I do think there are probably going to be state by state regulations coming down the pike pretty soon.
I can see that as well. I
Yeah,
think that now anybody can just do it, and I think that's I think there needs to be something, some kind of certification or some type of a thing, because coaches are popping up all over the place where they can
yeah,
teach no matter, if they know anything or not.
yeah, yeah, and so it is. A lot of therapists actually are moving towards coaching because we kind of see these folks who don't really have any education in helping people in that way, or out there doing these things, and they're not billing insurance. They're making very good livings and helping people. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what it's about,
it is about that.
is helping people. And regulations and stuff do have a purpose. I mean, I have to operate in my practice under certain rules and regulations and their ethical boundaries,
Mhm.
and I think there are pros and cons to everything.
I do too. I think that,
Yeah.
but in this situation, I think that it's an avenue for women to get out of the quote unquote stereotype workplace and becomes anything they want to be.
100%. It's exciting, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah, it's
It's exciting
exciting.
for all of us, though, because
Yeah.
it's not. I don't think. Okay, I'm just speaking for myself, but I don't think men really want women to be held down. I don't really think that's something that most men think about. I don't know that. I
No,
can't
I
say
I
that
don't
for
think
sure,
so
but
either.
I don't
No,
think
I don't
that's
think
where
so
people
either.
are at. I think everybody wants
No.
everybody to be uplifted and make as much as they can and do as good as they can.
Mhm.
But for some reason, management seems to be, and I can't say this for every company, but management seems to be a problem. Upper management and the people that are just kind of stuck in their ways, I guess you would have to say.
Well,
The
and
ones
there's
making the
certainly,
decisions. Yeah.
yeah, and there are certainly women who um bully other, women, female
Yeah.
managers who
Yeah.
bully um other women in the workplace. I mean, that
Hmm.
happens too, but
It does.
and I've thankfully never worked in corporate America, but I work with and have worked with a lot of women who have and do, and I've heard a lot of not so great stuff.
Me too, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's a problem, and I think
it
it's
is a
good that
very,
it's good
yeah.
that we talk about it and that we're open enough to be able to talk about money and equality and things, and the bullying that does take place in the workplace, both by male and
Hmm.
females.
Hmm.
Because it happens both ways. Anybody who's in a position of power has the ability to abuse that power or not.
Yes.
And so when we have that situation or that relationship, um, I think that there does need to be more awareness about what actually happens in that situation.
In
In the
which
situation of
situation?
bullying between the like the supervisor or the manager or the person in charge versus the person that's the subordinate.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be more talk about that. I don't think there's enough, whether it's male, female, or what. But back to what you're talking about and what you do, um, what do you think? I'm just going to ask you this. What do you think that is one of the most challenging things for women, either in the workplace or in entrepreneurship at this time?
Ooh,
It's tough. I know. I know.
the most challenging.
Yeah, something you see over and over again when you help people.
I I think it's, and I can speak for myself. as well. My children are older now. Women do tend to be the person in the relationship, shall we say, who is like responsible for, this is backed up by research too, that, you know, women, for instance, who work outside the workplace end up doing twice as much because they're doing most of the home stuff too.
As well.
Now, I'm not general, you know, I don't like to generalize. This is actually backed up by research. I'm not saying men are bad.
I know you're not. I know you're not. No, I actually agree with this because I see it too. And so like in the workplace, when women have to take off because their child is sick.
Right.
Oh, you only have so many days off, so we're going to fire you because your child's sick. Well, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, that happened to me.
Send them to daycare.
That totally happened to me.
Yeah. They can't send them to daycare. What are we supposed to do? I think there's so many men just, I'm not going to say, I don't want to generalize either, but I mean, men go to work, they come home and they eat dinner and, you know, watch TV, go to sleep. I don't, because I work and work and work and work. It's different. But women come home and they have to do the dishes or they have to, you know, I mean, a lot of that is changing where men will do the housework as well. But the caretaking of the children is mainly done by women.
Well, I mean, you know, we have them.
Yeah.
We feed them.
Yeah.
If we breastfeed.
Right.
We don't get paid after we have them. We can take some time off work. Unpaid. It's like ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, it's all very disempowering. So
it really is. You know, I didn't think about it. Honestly, I didn't think about it like that. But yeah, it is. It's like, hey, I'm having this miracle. I'm giving birth to a child, and my reward is I don't get paid for my leave. I have to worry about and struggle, and you shouldn't be worried at a time like that.
Yeah, and childcare is so expensive. But anyway,
very expensive.
So what often will happen, this happened to me, not happened to me, but this was how
the situation
occurred. Because of decisions that I made. I stayed home for 5 years with my kids. So, you know, when you do that, you lose experience,
gap in your resume.
You're not making money,
right?
But you're doing the hardest job ever.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And then because you stayed home, and if you're in a relationship where, like you said you were in, where you know that this relationship is over, how do you go back to work and do all that as a woman when you haven't worked because you're raising the kids and nobody respects that enough to say that's experience?
And it is really, I mean, it's all kinds of experience. So it's not, I think, like, and as an entrepreneur, you know, I in my group, I just opened it on Monday, but, you know, these are like really hard working women. There's one woman in my group who she homeschools and she's an online entrepreneur and her kids are younger, you know, it's like, you know, they need kids just when they're younger, they need things all the time. And I don't even know how she does all that. And she's struggling because anybody would.
Yeah, anybody would.
A lot.
It is.
So, you know, it's not, I think it's because we feel we have to hold so many things at one time. And that when we start to crumble a little bit because we're human, it feels like something's wrong with us. Like then the guilt kind of comes in. And
so why can't I be like super mom next door or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, the whole comparison thing. Yeah. So I don't think there's enough support.
I agree. I do agree with that.
Yeah. And so here's the other thing too. I think the kind of support that is out there is very masculine. So it's like the grind, the hustle, you know, you like do it all and I mean, that isn't sustainable.
I'm hoping it is. I'm just kidding.
Do we need to talk?
That's
we
what
have a session after this.
Yeah, probably need one because I do a lot actually, and
it's I mean, they've done studies on people who are in the final stages of life and ask them questions. What would you do differently? What do you wish you would have done? And the most common answer was, I wish I would have, called my old friend from high school later in life and reconnected. I wish I wouldn't have spent so much time at the office.
It's all about connecting. And
it's all about relationships.
I'll say this too. At work, they want overtime like all the time, it seems like now. And I'm on 8 days off right now. Took vacation plus the Christmas break that we have. So I like 8 days off in a row. But the people that are there have to work Saturday again. And it's like, I can't get paid enough to get my time back. And
exactly.
It's such a mindset, especially in factories, that if you don't work overtime, there's something wrong with you. Or, you go, well, why don't you want to work 12 hours
like you're
a day? Or
lazy or something?
I've been called lazy. I put in 13, 14 hours a day, and I've been called lazy. Because they don't understand what I'm doing. Kind of going back to the point where you were saying before, like your family's like not sure, if you're making money or what you're doing exactly with coworkers. They don't have any idea how much work is involved in what I do and what you do and these things. They just don't have any idea. But going back to the support, because I want to go back to that. I don't think there's enough support. I agree with you on that. And I never really saw the angle of, it's mostly a masculine thing where it's, hustle, grind, that type of thing. I did not look at it like that, but come to think about it, I think you're right. I do.
That's just how I see it.
It's okay. That's totally good.
And I have a cohort of female entrepreneurs who, we talk a lot about this, and also sales can be very sort of, the way that it's taught can be very masculine feeling.
I agree.
And women, there are a lot of women that really bristle at that. There are actually coaches who sort of specialize in working with women and how to sell their product services in ways that are more aligned with their own sensibilities and what feels right. So, and it's not to separate us, but it's just, we're all different.
Absolutely.
We're all different.
Yeah. And I feel this way, and maybe this is I don't know. I'm going to say what I say. I don't think you should apologize for it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I feel that it's like, well, I'm not trying to separate. I'm not trying to do this, but I think, you know what? Yeah, I think we should, because there's a different emotional state. There's a different in everyone. I'm not just talking men and women, but men and women are different. It's the way it is. And maybe you have something there to help other women to come up and be empowered to where something in the, I guess, male sales approach may not work for you. And that's okay. That's okay, because I think there's other people that resonate with you and say, yeah, that's me. Hey, I'm hearing what you're saying and I agree. So I don't think there should be an apology or saying, well, I'm not trying to do this. I think that you should try to, because I think there's a distinct difference, and I think that it's not served as well as it should be. And it's good that you're bringing this out to everyone. I think it's important.
Thanks.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot or anything. I wasn't trying to do that. No, you didn't at
all. It's nice to hear that. It's just really nice to hear that, because it's not about dividing us.
No,
it's about, you know, helping and
It's about empowerment.
Understanding too that I think there's a lot of tension about, oh, the sales script isn't working for me. Why isn't it working for me? I'm such a failure. But it's not them, it's the sales script.
Right, exactly. And
yeah,
because it's not meant for you, you know, and what you're doing is empowering. It's not dividing, it's empowering. You know, we need to have, how do we get equality? We get equality by recognizing differences and accepting them. Not to say that I'm being divisive because I feel that this is an area of weakness that has not been addressed. You're bringing something to light that needs to be talked about. So
I agree.
So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's an empowering thing, and I think it's a needed thing. So tell me a little bit more about your group and what you do with I think it's a Facebook group, right?
Yeah, so I just started a Facebook group. We just opened on Monday.
Awesome.
And yeah, what, can you hear my dogs?
Yeah, I love it. We're going to bring them on the show too. No. We've had cats before, and we've had cats, and we've seen somebody open the door behind you just a while ago too.
Oh yeah, that was my husband. Sorry, I don't know.
No, that's fine. We'll bring him on too. That's totally good.
This is what online entrepreneurship is about. Like,
yes,
you know, the curated backgrounds and stuff. Yeah. Whatever.
Don't be perfect. Can't be perfect.
Exactly.
And, you know,
nobody wants to see perfect. It doesn't even exist.
It doesn't. And what's funny is I don't try to be that at all. I'm like, I'm so far from perfect and I'm just real. And that's why it's called the entrepreneurial truth, because we're speaking the truth.
Yeah,
we're
I love
trying to be somebody that we're not. We have lives, we have dogs, we have cats, we have, well, I don't have husbands, but you know, we're getting spouses. Okay. We'll put it that way.
I love it.
We have kids that'll cry and scream. And, you know, I had one guy and his dog kept coming up on the couch. He kept throwing this thing and it kept coming back and bringing it back to him through the show. So it's totally fine.
That's awesome. Well,
so we were talking, see, I know how to bring this
Facebook
back.
group. Yes. Okay. So the Facebook group is called Secrets to Success. Learn how to take care of you so you can take care of your business.
Nice.
So it is right now, I think we have a couple hundred people in it.
And I tried to join like a moron.
We have a couple mail lurkers in there.
I did too, because I try to support the people that run the show. So I went and said, okay, I'll join. That's cool. I mean,
I sent you the link. I understand why you did that. And really, we're just getting started, getting to know each other. My intention for this group is to foster relationships, to bring in, I have a pretty good network of just superstar people that are more than happy to come in and talk to my tribe as I grow the tribe, about everything: marketing, client, acquisition, how to run a Facebook group, time management. But I really, really want to create a community that's supportive no matter what.
Yeah, I get this feeling of safety too.
That's great, because that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I want. It's these mental health things are so important to talk about.
Yes, they are.
And nobody wants to talk about them.
I had an interview, I think it was the 6th one I did with Lauren Spear, and she talked about a suicide attempt and going into the mental hospital, how that affected her online business and how many people abandoned her because of that. It was very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And I think that's some of the things that you want to address, but I think it's trying to create a safe community where people can actually talk to each other and put their real feelings out there. That's what I feel about it.
And that does take, some, trust is built
Mhm.
So it's going to take a little bit, but it's going to be really powerful. And I'm also starting a beta group coaching experience for Perfectionist Recovery Academy.
I like that.
Because it really is a special kind of hell.
Yeah.
And it's something that is super important and is also very tied to anxiety and depression.
It's very tied to anxiety
Yes,
because you're so afraid to make
yes,
a mistake.
yes. And
Yeah.
you don't take action.
No, because you're petrified of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Because what if I do this wrong? I mean, what if this isn't something like me? Like, what if I'm not right in the middle of my thing right now? You know?
It's also really insidious.
It is.
It's not like you're saying in that moment, oh, I'm not doing this because I want it to be perfect. You're just like, I can't do this.
Right.
You know,
Right. This
so
is off. I can't do this, you know.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
glasses shine in the light and I can't see
Yeah.
anything, so I take them off so I'm blind, and that's not.
Yeah.
And the way that I've dealt with it is I put it out there for everybody. I just, you know, if I'm making mistakes, I say it. You know, we'll do something before the show even, and I'll say, "Yep, that was my third take on that," or something. You know, I just do, because because I used to be like that. I used to be where I was frozen taking any action because everything had to be perfect. The voice had to be perfect. The volume had to be perfect. The video had to be perfect. And I'm like, oh, I can't do that stuff. But that's been
Well,
a long
once you
time
start,
now.
that's good. Because once you start doing it, you start to see how things go.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know what you don't know until you start doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it creates a lot of anxiety. Anxiety and depression are really quite intrinsically linked.
Mm-hmm.
And we do know that in the entrepreneurial world, rates of anxiety and depression are higher. And I don't know if there are statistics on this. If any of your viewers know, I can look it up too. But I don't think there are. I would venture to bet that online entrepreneurs have even higher rates of anxiety and depression because of
I
the
would
isolation.
agree with that. I would
Yeah.
agree with that. And I've talked to a lot of people that they're surrounded by people. They got groups. They've got, people that are admins. They've got VAs. They've got,
Mm-hmm.
they feel alone. That is one
Yeah.
of the biggest things I've seen in entrepreneurialism that I think is kind of strange to me, because everybody just feels like they're on their own, forging their own path. The leader, with the machete going through the jungle and stuff like this on their own. I don't know if that's really a correct viewpoint, but I know it exists in a lot of people.
It's not healthy.
No, it's not. And I know a lot of people that feel that way.
And me too. And that's why I'm doing group coaching, to bring people together to support each other, and in-person things
And talk
as
about
well. And talk about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good thing to bring out and talk about. The other thing I was going to ask you, I've asked a couple of people this on the show. Do you believe that anxiety and depression, especially in this new generation of like millennials and maybe the generation, I don't know, is it after that? I guess it's after that.
I always mix up the names of the generations.
Yeah, I don't know any of them. I say millennial for everything that's under me, pretty much. But do you see that as like all-time high type thing of anxiety, depression? Because I see it everywhere in younger people right now.
I think, I definitely see it a lot. I think there are a lot of things you could say about that, as far as like why that is. First of all, the younger generations have the language that we didn't have. I didn't know what anxiety was or depression growing
Exactly.
up. Like
Yeah, that's
nobody,
true too.
or
That's true.
bipolar disorder, or I'd never heard of those things, or OCD.
No, you're
So
right. I didn't hear of those things when I was growing up either.
yeah, nobody talked about those things in the 70s. Well, I
Depression,
mean,
maybe.
really, they didn't.
I think depression was something later on. Maybe I guess I would say I was high school age or something like that when I started hearing about that. But anxiety, all these other OCD, you know, like you said, bipolar. I never even heard of that till I grew up. I
Yeah, well,
didn't exist way back then. I mean, it existed, but it wasn't really mainstream like it is now.
no, I mean, there's a lot more openness about mental health, but we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
In both genders. And there's a study that I read, it wasn't too long ago, that people who have smartphones have higher rates of depression.
I've heard that too.
And
that are active on social
anxiety.
media.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, one of the first things that a lot of my therapy clients and I talk about is really limiting the social media exposure, because there's a lot of just comparing and feeling badly about yourself,
and then a lot of people announcing things bad that's happened to them, and accidents that you see, and all the negative stuff that you actually see on there. That's another thing that we didn't have growing up with social media.
No, we didn't have 24/7 news cycles either.
No.
You know, it was like my dad watched the news from like 6 to 6:30 was local, 6:30 to 7 was worldwide news.
Worldwide news. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I would watch too when I was a kid. But we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have instant anything. Heck, we didn't even have ESPN, the Total Sports Network, until I think it was 1980 or something in there. But yeah,
MTV was a big deal.
MTV as well. I mean, so we didn't grow up with knowing everything about everybody and all their personal life and problems and this and that, and identifying with those people and identifying with their problems, which maybe has brought out a little bit more of the depression, anxiety stuff, because, oh, what if this happens to me? And, oh my gosh, look what happened to them. And, you know, that type of thing.
And there's also a lot of anxiety about, oh, I got to check my phone. Oh, I got to check my phone. That's a very wired pattern that they've done studies on this too. Like if people tend to do things in a certain order, like say, check Facebook, check their IG, check YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And they'll do that. And if they don't do it in that order, it feels weird because it's just a totally entrenched habit.
And there's also negative feedback when you don't. So it's like if somebody messages you and you don't get back to them like in that same day or something, it's like, well, what happened and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And so we are almost conditioned to go check the phone like right away, because if someone mentions me, I don't want to miss that message because I'll get this negative feedback. So that's a big deal as well.
That is a really big expectations of responding quickly. Yeah, for sure.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, I think that's really something.
But also, the climate is doing what it's doing. There's anxiety about that. And I mean, I think there are reasons to be more anxious.
I have my own personal opinions on the climate and the earth and all that. And I think it's cyclical. I don't think it's anything we've done. I don't think it's anything we're going to do. I think we've had 5 major extinctions that we know about, and possibly 6. And I think if we have another one, we just have another one. I honestly do. I don't look at it the way some people look at it. I guess it's not that I want to not protect the earth or whatever, but to be honest about it, we're only protecting ourselves, because the world will be here. We may not be, but the world will probably be here. And maybe in a different form, maybe there's going to be different life here or whatever, but I'm not one to say, okay, let's just trash the earth because I don't know if it's helping or hurting. I mean, that's like not trying to keep your house clean or something like that, because, it might not last forever or something like this. But I guess I'm not as anxious about that as some. I don't know.
But like my daughter's generation and my son's they are worried about it.
Oh, they are.
And
I know they
that
are.
causes anxiety. I think there are a lot of different things, that are playing into that, like increased fear,
Yes.
depression, school shootings,
that's big.
So there are a lot of different things I think that are.
When you can't even be safe in the place that you're I wanted to say commanded, because it's almost how I feel about it. The place that you're required to go to, and that place isn't safe. Of course, it's going to cause anxiety and fear and all this other stuff. And I can see where kids would be afraid. Parents too. That's
of course.
That's a legitimate fear.
It is very scary. Yeah. So all these things, we need to talk about and connect with each other on and support each other. And women don't like to talk about their feelings. Just like I think a misconception that we sit around and talk about how we feel all the time, and it's not. Women don't like. We don't like to talk about our feelings either. We got to put the smile on our face.
It's a lot of surface things because of the fear of rejection and the fear of criticism, and oh, that's not that big of a deal. And you're like, I'm dying inside, but thanks.
Smile, I got this.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be
some more.
I think there's something to be said for everybody has to be positive nowadays. It's a thing where if you say you have a problem, then all of a sudden, oh, you're being negative, and I'm like, okay. Whereas I think even a while back, it was kind of like if I had some issue or something, and I'm feeling a little down or something, I could actually say, hey, you know what, I'm feeling kind of down today. Well, now it's like, well, you should just think more positively and all this stuff. And I think that adds to the depression, because it adds to the loneliness and the feeling of isolation.
And shame. That you can't think your way.
That your way is bad.
Out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. People don't, there's a lot of talk in personal development area that I love, but about just think about it in a different way. And if you're actually clinically depressed, you're not actually able to do that. And depression is not a choice.
No, it's not a choice. I mean, especially. A lot of people don't get depression, though. I don't think they get what that actually is or what it means.
No, I agree.
You're just
different.
down. It's okay. You can get back up. Yeah. It's fine. Let's just think about happy thoughts and all this. And to a point, I do agree with that. There are scientific studies about the brain and different thoughts and things like this. So there's merit to what people say, but it's easier said than done.
So it does change your brain when you can start creating new neural pathways.
Yep.
Talk therapy changes your brain. What I'm saying is a lot of people don't know how to do the reframe because they're so depressed.
Yeah.
So they need help doing the reframe. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's not like just go think positively. Like, what does that mean? I don't know how to do that. Why can't I do that? They're telling me to do that. I should be able to do that. So
it's like somebody caught in the bottom of the ocean with like an anchor tied to their leg and say, just swim up. I mean, it's really easy,
Yeah, exactly.
And they can't,
Yeah. And it's okay to say, I'm struggling.
Yes, it is.
There are a lot of people who will help.
Yeah.
Including women in my group.
And you. And totally. Me. I agree with that. Okay, so you have a Facebook group, you have a book coming out.
Well, it's a chapter in a book.
It's a chapter in a book. Well, it's a bunch of people who wrote the book together.
Yes. The last one that came out was amazing, super inspiring.
Looking forward to that too. Okay. Is there anything you want to say to everybody before we go? It's been a wonderful conversation. I think it's a conversation that was necessary, and I think people will resonate with you, and they will see some points and raise some thoughts in their head, get them thinking about what you're doing and what you're talking about. But is there anything you want to leave everybody with before we go, or say this is your floor, so go ahead?
Aw, thank you. Well, I know that some of these things are difficult to talk about, and they're not things you're going to be probably putting on social media. So if anybody wants to message me privately, please, I welcome that. I'm happy to help in any way that I can, and I truly mean that. So I'm around. I'm on Facebook all the time. We're just talking about social media.
Yep. See, you're not supposed to. No, I'm just kidding.
For business.
But, yeah. I know. I was just being stupid in a way, I'm just kidding. So we have the Facebook link under the description right now in the YouTube channel. We also have our Facebook group that you can join. Just click the link and you can and join that group. And I encourage you to do that and get the help that you need and interact. If you're a person that can help, that's also welcome, because the more people that can help, the better. So I'm just putting that out there to a lot of the female entrepreneurs that I've had on the show that would like to come and help. It would be perfect. That'd be absolutely amazing. We appreciate if you would do that. I'm supposed to say click the subscribe button and the little bell thing, so I'm going to do that now. Yeah, I think I'm done with that. It was an awesome show, Marianne. I really appreciate you being on here. I really believe you have a heart for people and women and have been through a lot, and you try to help people that have been through similar experiences. And
thanks for having me, Jim.
Yep, it comes.
Can I just say one tiny thing?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, there is a free mindset reset journaling prompt workbook in there for anybody who wants it. It's actually a digital journaling. It's a digital mindset journal with 28 journaling prompts specifically written for female entrepreneurs that I wrote. So you can even do your journaling in there online, and that's cool. Out there for them.
That's amazing. And that Facebook group is right below in the link below. And I have that on there, or I will have. I'm saying it as I already have done it, and I haven't yet, but it'll be there when you watch the video. So I'm trying to make it look like, anyways, but this has been an excellent show, Marianne. Thanks for joining me. Everybody, you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.